بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا تجعل مع الله إلها آخر فتقعد مذموما مخذولا وقضى ربك ألا تعبدوا إلا إياه وبالوالدين إحسانا إما يبلغن عندك الكبر أحدهما أو كلاهما فلا تقل لهما أف ولا تنهرهما وقل لهما قولا كريما واخفض لهما جناح الذل من الرحمة وقل رب ارحمهما كما ربياني صغيرا صدق الله العلي العظيم.
Great leaders don't tell what to do. They show you how it's done. Very good morning to one and all present here for today's conference and kicking off the today event starting today. Today, we are assembled here to witness the 10th Model United Nations Conference Final 2022 hosted by Al-Qasama International School, Dammam in collaboration with Al-Burud International School, Jeddah. It's my pleasure to walk you through the conference, introduce you to the speakers and delegates that have come from all over the continents to share their knowledge and enhance our mental horizon. Today's conference has about 100 participants participating from more than 35 schools across India, Middle East, and Africa, making this conference a truly an international conference in spirit.
This conference has come a long way since 2011 and has surfaced the various challenges that our education system has faced over the years and has adapted to the changing technological trends in the industry. From having this conference with just 20 participants back in 2011, we've come a long way in making this conference a huge success with 100 participants participating in this two-day conference across many of schools in India and outside.
I'm Atifa.
And I'm Abhi, your host for today.
Al-Qasama International School aspires for greater heights under the able leadership of its principal, Mr. K.M. Abdulaziz, who is a part of the best group of schools for over 2 years now, formerly serving as principal of IIS Riyadh, and now it is Qasama's pride and good fortune that he is our principal. I request Principal Sir to welcome the gathering.
Thank you, Miss Atifa and PFA. Most respected and honorable guest of the day, Mr. Rasim Anwar, IFS officer, observer of Indian Schools and Institute of India, Riyadh. Our Mudir, Mr. Awad Ali, sir, our group manager, Mr. Naushad, our deputy manager, Mr. Razi, our my colleague, Mr. Peter Ronald, Maya ma'am, Vinny ma'am, and of course, my friends from Al-Burud International School. I also welcome our distinguished judges from India, Ms. Sveda Mishra and Mr. Vedant Radha. Our guests from different schools, parents, teachers, and last but not the least, the glittering stars of today's conference, the delegates from schools across the world. A very pleasant good morning to one and all, and welcome to Best Model United Nations Conference 2022. It gives me immense pleasure and profound joy to extend a hearty welcome to everyone present here to mark the 10th edition of Best Model United Nations Conference. To begin with, it's indeed a great privilege to have Mr. Asim Anwar, IFS officer, observer of Indian schools, and second secretary, Embassy of India, Riyadh, with us today. We are truly blessed to have an IFS officer on this very day to address the delegates who will be relating, we all know, the United Nations Conference and representing each country. And I am also delighted to share with you right now that our officer, Mr. Asim Anwar, is an alumni of IIM who did his MBA from IIM Calcutta and also is B in computer science from IIT. With immense pleasure, I welcome you, sir, to this session. I am pleased to welcome our Mudir, and we are also honored to have the pillars of best group of schools, our general manager, our group manager, Mr. Naushad, our manager, Ashraf sir, my deputy group manager, Aziz sir. I extend a warm welcome to everyone and also to my ma'am, Vinny ma'am, Mr. Peter, and my colleague, and of course, Mr. Sunil, Ms. Mida, Mr. Anis, and all my team. My sincere welcome to one and all. Dear all, as I said, this is the 10th edition of Best Model United Nations Conference, which was started a decade back, all in the year 2011. Those years, it was held in the offline mode, and only schools from Saudi Arabia used to take part in the conference. Let me just give a brief picture of the history, the way we started. And this year, we have got very favorable response, tremendous response from schools in the Gulf and even from India. And I am extremely delighted to share with you that nearly 100 delegates got registered now for the ongoing session. And we are humbled by this huge success. Model United Nations, the academic simulation of the United Nations is a standalone co-curricular activity exceedingly enjoyed by all of us, children, teachers, and parents alike. It is truly exciting to see our smart children playing the role of delegates from different countries and simulating United Nations committees. This is experiential learning, the hallmark of 21st century. We all know that this prestigious co-curricular activity involves substantial research, public speaking, debating, negotiation, and writing skills. It also promotes critical thinking, teamwork, and leadership abilities. And we all know that this is what 21st century demands from our children for success in all spheres of their life. And this is the very reason the best group of schools incorporated Model United Nations Conference as one of our major programs. Here, dear all, in the coming hours, we can see our dear students earnestly involving in the collaborative process of problem solving, consensus building, nurturing leadership, and positive engagement through the discussion and debate of world's most pressing problems. Let me just shed some light on the conference, which we are going to witness in a short while. Of course, as a welcome speech, I must give a small picture of what's going to happen in the committees and conference. There are two committees in session, and these committees are UNICEF and the other one is UNFCCC. In the UNICEF is deliberating on the topic removing tangible barriers for children to escape poverty and educational challenges in the COVID scenario. And UNFCCC is debating on the subject evaluating the progress of Paris Climate Agreement. I personally feel, dear all, at the end of the conference, students would definitely develop an appreciation of differing viewpoints, experience the challenges of negotiation, see the parts of cooperation, collaboration, broaden their worldview, and discover the human side of international relations and diplomacy. We organizers, the best group of schools, firmly believe that cooperation is better than conflict. Unity is better than division. Empowerment is better than resentment, and bridges are better than walls. So let us, as educators, guide our children to the right world by developing a passion for learning and growth. Our children must be unique, different, and shine in their own way all throughout, and that is what we best group of schools always promote. Before I conclude, let me give a piece of advice to the children, to the delegates, to the participants, to the contestants. Dear delegates and participants, believe in yourself. There are three things you must aim at in this course. First, get into your subject. Then get your subject into yourself. And lastly, get your subject into the heart of your body. There is success. I wish you all the best. Thank you all. Over to you, Mr. Atifa.
Thank you, sir, for that warm welcome. It is my pleasure and privilege to have with us as our chief guest, Mr. Azim Anwar IFS. Mr. Azim is the observer of Indian schools across the kingdom and an eminent consulate officer from Embassy of India, Riyadh. I request you, sir, to share your thoughts with our participants and help them boost their morale.
Thank you very much. Good morning. Assalamu alaikum to everyone. Our principal of Al Khuzama School, Mr. Abdul Aziz, distinguished our participants, faculty and faculty members, judges, and most importantly, the dear students who are participating in this Model United Nations Conference. Whenever I read about Model United Nations conferences, I have a sense of envy. Because it's a fairly recent phenomenon. At least when I grew up and finished my schooling about almost 20 years ago, such a concept did not exist. Maybe it did, but at least it was not very popular in India. And soon after, when by the time I finished my education and I was working, I saw the MUN concept really take off in India, and I used to really think that maybe we could have really benefited, if we had the opportunity at that time. So finally, when I actually joined the Foreign Service, because I had a deep interest in the matters of foreign policy and how nations can, work together and, of course, further their own foreign policy interests and of course, represent your country in a foreign, in an international forum. That's when I would really look back and see that what the students are doing now, perhaps, we people will be doing in the real world. But then this really gives them a very, very, very strong sense of what it is like to solve the world's problems. And for me, the MUN is less of a competition, but more of what I see to be, helping students on two very, very major aspects of their development. First is, of course, a strong sense of understanding of world's issues. Now, obviously, when you participate in a conference like this, you have to read up. You really need to understand what's happening out there. What are the perspectives of different people? Obviously, the opinions of each person are different. Their own interests are different. So how do you actually, first of all, you research to find out what the problem is all about. And this, obviously, the textbooks of the curriculum may or may not cover this in that much detail. Secondly, it helps them actually sit down and discuss and resolve, interests which might not necessarily, coincide. So that tells them how to resolve conflicts, which is a very, very important skill in today's world, whether it's at an individual level or whether it's at a community level or even at an international level. One of the major things everybody does is how to resolve conflicts in an amicable manner. And that's what the Model United Nations teaches us, how to discuss and debate and come to a conclusion which is acceptable to all participants. And I think that's what children at a very early age need to understand, how conflicts need to be resolved through the use of words and language and the ability to debate with each other. And thirdly, and perhaps also equally importantly, is, of course, it teaches them public speaking skills. Now, I know it's a cliche to say that public speaking is very important for youngsters, but to actually give children an opportunity, combining the other two things that I mentioned, the ability, to resolve conflicts and to research on topics of global interest, and putting that in a coherent manner in front of an audience is something that's extremely important. And to be able to do that with a concise use of language, and to do it confidently is something I think a child, when he or she learns that in his formative years, will go a long way in his development, and irrespective of whatever job he or she chooses, this ability to actually speak and convince people and debate through logic, through the use of logical arguments, is a skill that will hold her or him in very good stead in any career the person chooses to pursue. So with that, I think I would just like to congratulate the schools once again, both Al Khuzama and as well as Al Wurud, in organizing this. I did hear that it's been going on for almost the last 10 years. I think this is you're doing a great job in bringing students together from multiple countries, making it a truly international conference. And particularly as somebody who's representing the embassy here, it gives me great joy and satisfaction to see that the Indian schools are taking the lead in matters such as this, to make sure that our children who are studying in the kingdom are not missing out in any way. And in fact, they are actually having a very, very strong footing, once they finish their formative education and go to join universities across the world. And I'm sure they will be able to look back and say that this has really given them a very strong foundation to take off into whatever education or career they choose. So with that, I would like to convey my heartiest congratulations on behalf of His Excellency the Ambassador and all my other embassy colleagues for organizing this 10th MUN conference by the two schools, and wish all the panelists the very best in their activities over the next few hours. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. The United Nations Organization was formed on 24th October 1945 with the objective of maintaining peace and security across the world. The UNFCCC Secretariat, UN Climate Change, is the United Nations entity tasked with supporting the global response to the threat of climate change. UNFCCC stands for United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. The UNFCCC is also the parent treaty of the 1997 Kyoto Protocol. UNICEF, also known as the United Nations Children's Fund, is a United Nations agency responsible for providing humanitarian and developmental aid to children worldwide. The agency is among the most widespread and recognizable social welfare organizations in the world, with a presence in 195 countries and territories. The best group of schools has initiated the task of conducting the UN Simulation Conference in order to develop life skills such as problem solving, negotiating, decision making, and critical thinking in the students by way of discussion and debate. The students participating in this simulation conference will strive to prove their skill and ability. Next, we have an overview of best group of schools, the journey so far. We have Mr. Sajid VP, who is the head of English department, is here with us to show a video. Sir, please. Today, it is our pleasure and privilege to have with us as our chief guest, Dr. Chelabos Kalpakidis, who is the Academic Director and Associate Professor, Birmingham University, London. Dr. K, as his students and colleagues alike have come to call him, lived almost his entire life as a foreigner in foreign lands. As a Greek in Germany, he went through the public school system and 4 years of university, studying English, Spanish, and French literature and linguistics. In 1996, he moved to the USA to pursue a PhD in cognitive linguistics. In 2003, he moved to Japan as a university professor. He returned to Germany and USA later in his career before moving to the Middle East for 6 years from 2013 to 2019. As a student, an educator, as an administrator, and as a human being, he could have remained an outsider in these foreign lands. But instead, he learned to adopt, to listen, and to respect and understand differing viewpoints from the people around him. Throughout his entire life, he has had to negotiate and renegotiate his position in different countries, in diverse cultures across continents. It is these negotiations which are so vital to model United Nations events like us that make him a great match as a speaker to commence our two-day event. Please join me in welcoming our chief guest as I invite him to address the gathering and declare the Model United Nations Conference 2021-22 open.
Good morning, everybody. And wow, thank you so much for this wonderful introduction. Just a small correction. I am actually in Greece right now and not in London. I'm really pleased to be able to join you and to have been invited by you to kick off this Model United Nations event under the aegis of Best Group of Schools in KSA. It's incredibly challenging during these times to try and organize an event such as this with so many participants from so many different locations. So I want to congratulate everybody who has participated in organizing this event and who is participating in the event itself. But as important as the organizers are, an event like this isn't really about the organizers, is it? An event like this is about the participants. And the participants, the young students that will be debating the topics that you have selected and presented to them, they're the focus. And I want to congratulate you as students who are participating in this conference. Your energy, your wish, and your desire to participate, your talents, in fact, are going to make this event, as they have made previous events, a wonderful learning experience. But when we talk about learning, and when we look at Model United Nations events, people will say, well, the students, they're presented with topics. They get to research. They get to take different positions. They get to overcome their fears of public speaking. They get to put themselves in the shoes of others. They get to negotiate. They get to, if you will, follow the spirit of a very fundamental mechanism of communication that goes back to Aristotle, who 2,400 years ago said that for every thesis, for every statement, there will be an antithesis, a counter-argument. And the only way that we will manage to live together in this world will be through a synthesis. So this three-step process has been around for 2,300, 2,400 years almost. And really, this is what you're going back to today. Something that goes back so far and something that has been one of the fundamental pillars of communication and of interaction among people. But when we think about the topics that you've been presented with, both about COVID and children and about the Paris Climate Accords, not only are these topics important as ways to focus your research and to focus your conversations. These topics are important because above all other skills that you will have to learn and that you will have to display during this event is not public speaking. It's not research. It's not negotiations. It's a skill that in a world that is so noisy as our world is, usually gets forgotten. And that's the skill of listening. If you don't listen with your ears, with your mind, and above all, with your heart, if you don't give other people the opportunity to express themselves and don't respond with preconceived notions that you are right and that they are wrong and that you have a better way of looking at the problem and a better way of solving the problem, then I fear you will not be open to the most important lesson that an event like this has to offer. Listen. Listen carefully. Despite all your research, if you cannot listen and take in what the opposing teams, what the ambassadors with different thoughts, opinions, and concerns have to say, then you cannot truly negotiate common ground between all of the participants in the panel discussions. And to me, as brief as this may be, is the most important message. Listen to what others have to say. As you enter the event, keep an open mind to all of the arguments, not only the ones that you have researched, not only the ones that support your point of view. Now, I know many of you have prepared for this for quite some time. And those who organized the conference started preparing it the day that the last conference was over. This is usually how these events work. So in light of all the effort and in light of all the energy that has gone into organizing this event, and for you students to participate in it, remember that this event exists for you, but not alone through you. I wish everybody who has invested so much time, energy, and effort a wonderful time with the event, during the event, and despite the fact that communication and interaction is not directly possible because of the pandemic, I wish you a wonderful learning experience. Thank you very much for participating. Thank you very much for organizing the event and putting it together.
Thank you, sir, for those exemplary words.
Now it's time to invite our dear Mudir, Mr. Awad Isa Al-Hikkan, the ever-smiling and enticing personality behind the growth of our institution. Sir, please share your thoughts.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning, everybody. I am so happy to be with you. And I am so glad and honored to be the guest of honor for this United Nations Virtual World Conference. I am happy to hear all opinions or discuss all topics, such as poverty and education challenge in the time of the COVID-19. And I am happy to hear your opinion about the climate change and its impact on the world. From my position, I wish you success in all the other topics which you have mentioned. And I say to you, work and work. God will see your work and his messenger, and all world will see and hear your works. So be happy and be proud. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We are also happy to have with us the guest of
Must
honor.
be happy.
Mr. S.M. Naushad, Group Manager, Best Group of Schools. Naushad sir has been in association with the Model United Nations Conference since its inception till now. I invite sir to speak a few words and grace the occasion.
Thank you, Atifa and Amir Khan, for your generous introduction. Chief Guest of the Day, Dr. C. Kalpakidis, Mr. Dasim, and IFS Officer, Embassy of India, KSA, my dear principals, best group leaders, my dear brother, Mr. Abad Al-Hekan, Mudir, judges of the session, and colleagues, and parents, and the students of all the participating schools. I believe close to 40 schools, attending this session. Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to you all. We are extremely happy today to have two eminent personalities as our chief guest and keynote speaker. Thank you so much, sir, for your presence and your thought-provoking and enlightening opening remarks. Dr. Kalpakidis is joining us from Greece, from the birthplace of democracy, and it shall remain as an important reference point for democracy. Thank you, sir, for joining us. My dear students and friends, this is the second time that we are meeting online for the MON. Wherever you are, we hope and pray that you all are staying healthy and safe. May the Almighty protect all of us and all our brothers and sisters around the world. On this peculiar pandemic situation, Al-Qasama International School, Dammam, under the best group of schools, have come forward to organize this MUN in such a great manner, which is a really commendable step in the right direction. Our appreciations to the entire team of Al-Qasama International School, Dammam, for this spectacular job. And also our appreciations and the best wishes to all the participating schools. I would request you all, please give them a big round of silent clap. My dear friends, it is truly an honor and pleasure for us to be present here and to witness you, the young talent delegates. We are filled to the brim with excitement to see you, the budding delegates, showcasing our exemplary statesmanship. Both the eminent guests have scholarly underlined the fundamentals that required to make our MUNs more meaningful. As Efim Anwar rightly pointed out, the Model United Nations is not for a mere competition. It helps us understand the proceedings of the UN, but rather it shows us exactly how interdependent we are as human beings, how we need the support of one another to bring about positive changes and move this world in the right direction. We are obliged to cooperate with our peers to move forward, which is much similar to our daily life. The topics you have chosen today for the UNICEF and the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change are perfect for the current environment we are in. The pandemic which are going through right now has not just affected the business or the working class, but rather it has inflicted its dark claws upon the education sector as well. The wealth divide has massively widened. The rich has gotten richer, while the condition of the poor has become even more miserable. Accompanying this disastrous situation is the ever-growing education divide in the world. While the affluent students had the opportunity to utilize online platforms to pursue their studies, the less privileged students were pushed into the depression due to their lack of means to continue their studies. I hope that by bringing up a topic such as this for the discussion shall surely bring changes into the mindset of the students and the public. We are eagerly waiting for your ideas on how to break the shackles of the poverty that tie many children down to a world of illiteracy and hunger. And also the second topic, the climate change is another major issue that the world is facing right now. As Mahatma Gandhi rightly pointed out, the world has enough to satisfy everyone's need, but not enough to satisfy everyone's greed. These words summarize perfectly the situation our world has entered into with its ever-increasing love for industrialization and greenhouse gas emissions. As humans, We all share a collective responsibility to protect this planet. Despite the Paris climate change agreement, our planet is still heading into a climate crisis. But seeing the budding citizens trying to work out a solution definitely will provide some rays of hope. Let us hope that we can retain the planet we have borrowed from to our grandchildren in its full glory. I wish all the delegates and the committees the very best and hope that we will wind up the sessions tomorrow with your bright new ideas and a renewed vigor to make this world a better place. Our prayers that may you be the bright leaders of tomorrow that positively change the course of human history. I wish you the best of luck and a fruitful MUN experience. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
We have another prominent personality with us, Peter Sir. Peter Ronald Mascarenhas, the principal of Al Wurud International School, is a very much associated personality with MUN since its beginning and has been working hard to popularize the event across India and Middle East. Sir, please share your thoughts in a few words.
Good morning to all of you, respected chief guest of the day, the guest of honors, Mr. Awad, the Mudir, the members of management, and my fellow principal Aziz sir, all members of the faculty and my student delegates. Once again, good morning to all of you. I think speakers before me underscored many things, but I wish to say a couple of things. One important thing is, apart from representing your country as delegates and solving the issues of climate change or the COVID situation, dealing with the kids, your success should also lie in how many friends you are going to make at the end of the session. There are more than 100 delegates are taking part. So make as many friends as possible and keep in touch with them. This is a huge opportunity where delegates from India, Middle East, Africa, all over the world are taking part. That is one of the great opportunity for all of you. For us, the journey of Model United Nations started 10, 11 years back. It's a year after year, it's getting stronger and bigger. You know, initially we used to start with 10 schools or 5 schools or 15 delegates. Today, the number crossed 100. We will continue to do, increase and expand this journey at all levels so that, together we can learn. Having said that, for us in both Wurud and Al Khuzama, the Model United Nations is not a single event. It is a year-long process. We have a gadget-free hour to discuss our family issues at the dinner table, or we start at the class level, the inter-class level, inter-house level, inter-school level, and today what we are witnessing, the grand culmination of our entire year's process. My dear delegates, don't stop today and tomorrow only. The research on the topics on climate change or COVID are not going to end today or tomorrow. This will continue to be there for years to come. So being the young student leaders, continue to research, continue to seek knowledge, continue to find solutions which are best available at your level so that we will have a better tomorrow. So thank you so much. Once again, best of luck during both the days of our event. I thank all the organizers and all my colleagues who worked very hard to put up this show. And thank you. Best wishes.
Thank you, sir, for exciting words.
Next, we have a dear Venugopal sir, who is the program coordinator and the man behind the event for these 2 days. The effort of Venugopal sir has been evident with many achievements in several conferences held under the aegis of Best Group of Schools. Being a mentor, Venugopal sir has been part of this event since 2015 and has good command over the MUN procedures. He is responsible for many achievements Al Khuzama International School has secured so far. Sir, please present your report on MUN.
Good morning. Arifa, for your good words. Meeting tomorrow's world leaders. It has been said that knowledge is power. We need to strengthen education systems so that the young people can benefit from cultural diversity and not be victimized by those who exploit differences. Ban Ki-moon. Honorable Chief Guest, Guest of Honors, esteemed judges, principals, vice principal, headmistress, coordinators, teachers, parents, student delegates, and my dear best family members, a warm good morning to everyone. I am privileged to interact with you all regarding the formalities of 10th Model United Nations Conference, finals hosted by Al-Khuzama International School, Dammam. As we are living in the pandemic era, we forced to conduct this prestigious event in online mode. Model United Nations is an extracurricular activity in which students typically role play as delegates of United Nations and simulate UN committees. MUNC gives an opportunity which involves substantial researching, public speaking, debating, writing skills, critical thinking, teamwork, and leadership abilities. The mock UN addresses current issues related to regional conflicts, peacekeeping, human rights issues of women and children, economic and social development, and environment. We strive to provide students with a better understanding of the inner working of the UN and to foster skills in diplomacy and compromise. Let us discuss how the model UN gets started. The sessions and timings. There are two sessions, namely the United Nations Children's Emergency Fund and the United Nations Council for Climate Change. Both the sessions together take around 7 hours each in 2 days to complete. There will be a chairman, vice chairman, rapporteur who will lead the sessions. The chairperson is overall in charge of the session. The rapporteur and director will be in charge of the roll calls and note down the speaker's time. The roll call is always the first process of any session of the MUNC. It's the call made by the chairs of the two sessions in order to confirm the presence of the delegates. As soon as the roll call gets over, the chair calls for a motion to propose the agenda of the topic that will be discussed. After the agenda gets selected, the chair calls for a motion, propose the time limit per speaker. The time limit is decided through voting. The time limit per speaker won't exceed a maximum of 2 to 3 minutes. The chair asks the delegates who are interested to speak about the topic to raise their hands so that they can enroll themselves in the speakers list. The debate begins in the order of their selected agenda, where the delegates get called on. After each delegate finishes speaking on a particular topic, the chair or rapporteur calls for points of information from each delegate. Caucusing. It's a form of informal debate during which the delegates of various countries move around to get their draft resolution signed. During caucus, the delegates can discuss the topics in an informal way. After the above-mentioned process gets completed, the chair closes the debate and begins the debate on the next topic in the agenda. Once the motion to close the debate has been approved, the committee moves into voting procedures. Amendments are voted on first, then resolutions. Once the resolutions are voted on, the committee moves to the next topic on the agenda. A few etiquettes to be followed. Refrain from using first and second personal pronouns. Constant use of these words may lead to disqualification. The order and respect for others that all delegates at Model UN conferences must exhibit. The chair will call for decorum, which he or she feels that the committee is not being respectful of the speaker on the dais, or if their roles as ambassadors are not maintained. And we have the topic for today, UNICEF, removing tangible barriers for children to escape poverty and educational difficulties in the COVID-19 scenario. The topic for UNFCCC is difficulties in the implementation of difficulties in the implementation of the Paris Climate Agreement. Now, I would like to introduce our eminent judging panels who are going to evaluate the sessions based on some criteria. Vedant Ratha. Vedant Ratha, currently pursuing his career in law, is a diplomat in true sense. With more than 100+ MUN experience as delegate and executive board member in the shortest while. He is all set to lead by example again. With the success in competitions, nationally, internationally, he will uphold the responsibility of moderating the debate and lead the committee its productive end. We have the second eminent judging panel member, Ms. Shweta Mishra, a working woman having experience in many establishments. Shweta Mishra has been playing a major role in association with many numbers of MUNs. She has been a delegate in about 30 MUNs, have been awarded with many MUN recognitions. She has been playing several leadership roles in the prestigious Simon as chairperson. With all those excellent experiences, she is here with us as part of our judging panels. The chairpersons of these events for today are Mr. Joseph Albin. I would rather call them Mr. Joseph Albin than Master Joseph Albin, supported by Maris and Majita as vice chairperson and rapporteur respectively. Mr. Sandeep Srinivasan, supported by Aisha Razia and Joel Matthew as vice chairperson and rapporteur for the UNICEF. Joseph Albin and Sandeep Srinivasan, now students of International Indian School Dammam, have been part and parcel of MUNs held in different parts of India and the kingdom. They have bagged many awards as best delegates, best speakers, etc. They have had incredible achievements in Simon. It is with much credibility, I would say, that being a delegate in this forum itself is something great. But since it's also a competition, we're forced to identify the bestest of the bests. Hence, we have the following awards being into consideration: Best Speaker Awards, Best Delegate Awards, High Commendations, and Special Jury Awards. There are no losers, but all are achievers. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Last but not least, we have our school head boy, Junaid Akif Patan, who is also acting as the Secretary General of UNFCCC and UNICEF. He is here to give a brief about the rules and regulation, the topics for debate, and also to announce the team participating in this conference.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Thank you. Leadership is not about a title or a designation. It's about impact, influence, and inspirations. Great leaders communicate, and great communicators lead. Honorable chief guests, respected teachers, coordinators, EB members, and my wonderful, wonderful delegates. A very pleasant morning to one and all present here. I am Junaid Akif Pathan, student of Class 10, head boy of Al Khuzama International School, Dammam. I am deeply honored and privileged to serve you all as a Secretary General for Best MUN 2022. Once again, I welcome you all to this grand event. Model United Nations, a place which molds today's students into tomorrow's leaders, a place where small debates can make a substantial difference. Today, in this grand event, we have more than 90 delegates across India, Africa, and the Middle East. These world leaders have come here with a straight aim in their minds: a healthy and better future for our Mother Earth. As you're aware that our intellective leaders are divided into two committees with their respective agendas. These topics might sound very simple to you, but let me tell you that such issues are the reason why sustenance of life on this planet has become an alarming situation. Being the Secretary General, it was a very challenging task to manage more than 90 delegates. But as they say, with great powers come great responsibility. Since the day of registration till this moment, coordinating with such marvelous delegates has been a wonderful experience. I am definitely thankful for such an opportunity. After weeks and weeks of hard work and research, our mighty young leaders have found innovative and ingenious solutions in order to tackle such world issues. And yes, the most awaited day is finally here. My advice to all the delegates would be enjoy till it lasts. Just like Peter sir mentioned, having such a diverse committee with people across the world is a blessing and lifetime opportunity. Sharing each other's thoughts, culture, ideas, and making friends should be our objective here. As again, it is rightly said, unity in diversity. This is God's secret in this cosmic game. Despite such unprecedented times with the outbreak of COVID-19, online platforms have become a great medium for us to socialize. Let us not take it for granted. Coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is progress. And working together is success. Quoting Henry Ford, once again, I wish all the delegates good luck. Delegates, I hope all of you are prepared, ready, and excited to perform your absolute best. The world is in your hands. You are the future of tomorrow, the mighty revolutionist. So, ladies and gentlemen, fasten your seatbelts to what is going to be one of the greatest experiences of your lives. The battle is yet to begin. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Master Junaid. A loud round of applause for all our dignitaries.
The next 2 days, we will have the 2 UN sessions continued. I introduce the chairperson of the UNICEF, Mr. Sandeep Srinivasan, the vice chairman, Mr. Joel Matthew, and the reporter, Ms. Aisha Razia. I also introduce Master Joseph Albin, the chairman of UNFCCC, supported by Ms. Maris as vice chairperson and Ms. Majida as reporter. We will now move for a break for 10 minutes for all delegates to join for the 2 sessions. I remind you all that both UNFCCC and UNICEF sessions are happening parallel. I hereby request all the delegates of UNFCCC and UNICEF to join their respective webinar links, which is already shared. Thank you all.